So I'm Luke Thompson, I'm the lead programmer at Sigtrap Games, and we're working on Sublevel Zero. So Sublevel Zero is a procedural permadeath 6 degree of freedom shooter. So you've got this, if you've ever played anything like Descent or Forsaken, it's this movement mechanic where you can move in all directions, up and down, and roll and tilt, and you've got a lot of freedom in your movement. And we're coupling that with kind of a procedural generation, so every level is different, every time you play the game is different. We have persistent aspects, so you unlock things as you play through, but each game you play is a permadeath. It's a permadeath game. We've got a lot of looting and crafting, so all the items that you pick up are randomly generated, and they've got different stats. So you might have a minigun that has +5 damage, but -5 accuracy, and you can sort of choose between the different things you pick up to suit your play style. And that also goes for the crafting system. So if you combine 2 items together, the stats of the item you create inherit from those stats, so you can customize the upgrades that you want to use as you play through the campaign. We wanted to have, well, okay, I'm going to go with a personal anecdote. Descent was a really important game for me growing up, and the bits I always liked most about Descent was sort of the later levels where the ammo is scarce and the enemies are hard and you've got tight spaces and you kind of have to hide behind cover, pop out, take a few shots and then pop back. And you hardly ever find shield pickup, so you're kind of running on empty the entire time. And that feeling of every decision mattering was always my favorite part about Descent. So as much as it's very, you know, the obvious route would kind of be to make a really run and gun arcade experience, which is, you know, would be an amazing game as well. We kind of wanted to focus on something a little more strategic, a little more thought out, a little harder, and really make every decision count. It fits into all of Sublevel Zero. The whole thing just suits itself really well to VR. The fact that you're sitting in a cockpit is immediately more comfortable than sort of a first-person shooter sort of setup. So you don't have to worry about, am I shooting where I look, or am I moving where I look, or if I move, does it sort of drag a bit and then snap, or none of these things become conscious decisions by the player. They can actually just sit in the Rift, and they're in a cockpit, so they look around, but they know that they're controlling the spaceship with the controller, and that's independent of their movement. So it works really nicely. It's just a really cool kind of game to have in that fully 3D environment, because it's a fully 3D game in terms of the movement that you have, and it's a fully 3D environment in terms of depth perception, and the two just work really well together to give a really unique experience. Well, we've just, from the outset, you know, this game was designed for the Rift as well as without it. You know, it works well either way, but the key thing is that we've been thinking about this from the outset. So we've been really careful to make sure that at every stage the VR integration is really solid and really comfortable. So we've played a lot of other demos, a lot of other games, and sort of worked out what works and what doesn't, and tried to apply that to our game and sort of tweaking it along the way. And we're always sort of playing around with different things, and, like, you know, how do we make the heads-up display work? How do you make the aiming reticle work? As well as just making sure the motion is comfortable. So what we have is actually, I think, a really comfortable experience. Having tried lots of sort of VR stuff, I actually think we've done really well with that, and it's really important to us to get that right. We're not sure yet about the pricing, nor about exactly when we're releasing. We're aiming sort of late summer, but more specific than that we really couldn't say right now.